On Sitilides, a geopolitical strategist with Trilogy Advisors. John, great to have you. Well, Iran says we will break these unjust sanctions, but except for these 8 countries that Nina just pointed out, it seems like the world is facing a choice today, Iran or the United States. Does everyone need to pick sides?
Well, I don't think there's really any choice here. Anyone who is practical and logical in their approach to doing business will see that the United States economy absolutely dwarfs that of Iran. So if it's a matter of what's the most bottom line perspective on how to achieve your particular objectives, you go with the United States. If you have an ideological, a philosophical commitment to supporting the Iranian regime and you're willing to sacrifice access to the American economy, so be it. But I just think in the end, almost every country in the world is going to have to side with the U.S. simply because of our economic weight.
And John, as far as Iranians exporting of oil is concerned, and again, they do have some opportunities to do that, but what sort of overall impact does this have in your estimation on the Iranian economy?
I think it has the possibility of having a serious series of blows against the economy. Look, the Iranians are very smart. They're going to try to sell oil every which way they can. And as your correspondents mentioned, it's almost going to be a whack-a-mole type situation. Do we really expect to get this down to zero? Absolutely. No. But it's going to be extremely difficult for Iran to continue to find ways to evade the sanctions. And I think the Trump administration is very serious about making it as punitive as possible against those financial institutions or those entities that are operating in the oil markets, the trading markets, to continue to find ways to do business. And even for those who might be thinking about, say, a special payment vehicle on behalf of the European Union or a cryptocurrency to evade the dollar transactions. So the U.S. is going to have to be very vigilant. The Iranians will try to find every single way they can to evade the sanctions, but it'll be increasingly time-consuming and very inefficient and ultimately very costly for the Iranian government.
John, I'm not sure if you've seen the footage coming from Iran on this day or even yesterday of demonstrations, people protesting in the streets, but I watched it and it seems like their anger is aimed at the United States and President Trump at this point. Do you think we'll see a different kind of protests down the road?
I think it really remains to be seen how the impacts of these sanctions will play out. It's very difficult to predict today. Look, there have been protests in hundreds of cities throughout Iran for many years now, even before there was even talk of sanctions under the original non-binding political commitment between the Obama administration, the European powers, and Iran. You've had protests for a number of reasons because you're dealing ultimately with a police state. It's a rogue state. It treats its people in horrific ways, and you have now famines, you have droughts that are caused by governmental policies, and so people are very upset with governance in Iran besides the sanctions. But there is a very strong propaganda campaign underway. The Iranians know that there are many European and other Western media that love to see footage of anti-American demonstrations. But there's a lot that's going on that we're not seeing, and I think the administration's strategy is to stoke resentment against the Iranian government for squandering $16 billion a year in Middle Eastern adventurism in Syria, Hezbollah, and Hamas, rather than tending to the needs of their own society.
John Sitilides, geopolitical strategist. John, thank you. We appreciate it. Still ahead.